I'm the voice. This is Divi Updates, episode 30. If you thought you could, you shouldn't have, but now you can. How's it going, guys? Rob, Meeks?
That was pretty. That's a good summary of what we're doing today. I like that.
That's right. I think today we have a great news for all US users. It's not effective yet, but it looks like very soon things will change. A lot of suspense in this introduction.
I could have said, wait. I could have said it's starting to rain outside. We need an ark. But see, that was that. That would have been fun too. Yeah.
Very good. But let's start with that, because a couple of weeks ago we talked about the project Crypto and Crypto Sprint, and we were all very excited about it. And it looks like we've got some continuation of that good news. Niggs, why don't you take it away on this?
You want to start by that? No, let's get that for after.
No, start with that one.
Are you guys going to fight about our flow here? Just somebody do something.
Yeah, I can talk about the CFTC announcement. So it is a big thing. So basically, the CFTC just announced that foreign exchange platforms for digital asset and actually other assets too can now register within the framework that was already existing within the CFTC, which is called the FBOT. I think it's Foreign Board Trade. Foreign Board of Trade. Mm-hmm. And so basically, until now, because of the position of the SEC, the lack of clarity about basically the US users being able to purchase crypto and hold crypto, it was impossible for exchange to even think about registering into that framework. But now they just published this announcement that they have this open and exchange platform can now register in that framework. And it is a very standard framework to register. Like basically they have to show all ownership structure. They have to be in line with their own regulation in the countries they are in. It is nothing that seems crazy. I would expect every big exchange platform to start registration. Potentially they were already aware of that and they started already. But I would expect all big exchange platforms to be able to welcome US users KYC very soon. We will see. That seems very going that direction.
So amazing. If like, to be crystal clear, we can use with this done and KuCoin registering, we can use KuCoin, we can use Bitrue, you can use all of these things that had to use our VPNs to get around. Like this is super cool, and why Gary Gensler didn't do this is beyond me. Like this seems so straightforward.
I think that's it. There was not an animosity. What was the statement you used before we started this chat? What was it that the environment was just negative, right?
It was. I mean, those guys were just, I don't know, maybe their fear led, or maybe their misunderstanding led to fear, or they listened to drank their own Kool-Aid. I don't know. But like this seemed like so much easier than all the crap they were trying to do. Just let it in and let it be legit. Like you just left the KYC. I don't think actually most people actually care about that as much as, some people do. Yeah. Most people don't. And so you just, do the driver's license passport thing, and then you can use KuCoin, and it's not a different KuCoin. Like Binance had two different exchanges for a while there. They had the US one and the normal one. And like, why? Just have one. And I'm super excited. I think this is sanity finally.
Yeah, I think it's related to what we were talking about last time, right? I think we had, and I mean, I wouldn't feel like it's fixed. I think we have generation of politicians in the West who are inclined to want to take control over markets, to want to preserve some kind of status quo of things, and of course, like this is very bad for innovation. And correct. I think that what happens with Trump and who is associated with about that, because you can imagine that Trump probably doesn't understand much of what is happening in crypto. I mean, it's not his thing, right? But it seems that people he surrounded himself with aligned with his vision of opening markets. And again, like I'm going to say it again, the position that America had in the world for like decades, right? Being open markets, like opening everybody to make business. And so it looks like it's going this direction. It has been crazy. They mentioned that in the announcement. It has been crazy, the loss of potential, market money that US could have had. Like basically, it's very clear that most of the market, I mean, there is a huge Asian market, but besides that, the US market is like the biggest, right? Like it's the most, where you have the most invention projects, employees, marketing companies, and holders. And so it's just insane that US was not benefiting out of that. So now it is coming. It looks like it is going to come soon.
I mean, better than late than never. It's just remarkable that it was this simple. Could have been this simple this whole time. Like apparently these rules have been around since like forever. Just use those same rules, and crazy.
That's right. So this FBOT registration is basically a framework that is already applying for trading platforms that were not related to crypto, right? The only blocker was really crypto. And so what they mention here is that now crypto trading platform can now go and register and basically be granted an authorization to access the US market.
So this is ideal for crypto trading, because under the guidelines for an FBOT, access limitations are electronic only. How are we using it? It's electronic only. It's through the web. It's not like we're going to a physical exchange or having somebody represent us as a physical exchange. I mean, almost everything in here is just what you're saying, Neeks. I'm looking at the 15 things that they have to do, which are just standard exchange stuff. The only thing that they have that would be they'd have to sort of massage so it works right is that the frameworks for their compliance, right, their regulations have to have a similar or comparable standard to US standards.
Yeah,
right? That might be,
So there is a little bit of a little bit, but of kind of industry support, not crypto industry, but the auditing industry, right? So crypto it's a source of truth. Like if there's funds, if a block explorer says there's funds, or there's funds there, you don't actually have to. But apparently, there's still an auditing part to this. That could have been made much simpler, I think. So. But I think. I think those guys still think in certain boxes, and
so there is a lot. They ask for some, basically, if I understand correctly, maybe not code, but logic about trading systems that is behind the platform. It is basically the kind of regulation that are currently the framework for Forex platforms, right? Foreign Forex platforms. And it's basically that, right? And it's still, like, of course, it is a lot more regulated than a totally non-regulated exchange, but it's still pretty open. And I think that it will also have consequences on the platforms that are not complying now with this framework.
Oh yeah, I like your theory on this. Yeah, go ahead, talk about that.
Point 11 is no abusive trading practices. Rules to prevent manipulation and ensure orderly trading.
Yeah, but you can see that
he's getting at
in stock market, you can see that this manipulation on Forex is still like, this is still there, right?
Yeah.
So what I was saying is that while it is great for the US market that will now be able to KYC on probably the biggest platforms, now the small platform that offer non-KYC, that do not comply with that framework, now they will be isolated. Like right now, they are a large part of the market. But obviously, as now the door open for the market that was basically kept away from going through KYC, now it will be isolated. It will be a small part of the market, and it will be easier to basically, point them as a problem, and get them out, or flag them as bad addresses. Like you can imagine the kind
Yeah.
of measures that can be taken.
Yeah.
And I think it is a risk of the like what is going to happen, unfortunately.
So I want to say this because we'll have some people who will listen to this and they'll say, well, look, they're FOMOing over centralized exchanges. That is not what we're doing. We're FOMOing over, right? You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to make this clear. I would much prefer a DEX, but there's nobody who's listening to this that can tell me that they have a true, pure DEX. Every exchange is centralized to some degree, whether through access or through KYC. There is censorship possibilities. There's blocking and all sorts of, well, I guess that's censorship. There's all sorts of things. So when we can have a true pure DEX, I'm going to FOMO over that. But as far as participation, we shouldn't be restricted. We should have freedoms. We should have the ability. If you want to go all bore, you want to go all KYC, and you want to do all these things, you should be able to do it. That's what freedom is all about. I would say
I use centralized exchanges. It's not
correct.
It's not like I'm not doing. I just don't leave funds there. Because
yes, exactly.
One too many times.
It's great.
Great.
People
Like
go, where can I get this? You could say anywhere now. Anyone who's willing to participate.
And I have no problem with centralized exchange as a concept, right? I don't have a problem with trust.
Mm-hmm.
I just prefer when it's not required.
Yeah.
But I like some exchange offer, like they've been extremely helpful for the whole industry, exactly like Tether. Like,
Tether is exactly
not like a fully centralized thing, has still been very helpful for the industry. I think most people still use centralized exchange. I would love when, like you're talking about DEXs, I would love when we have a side chain that is really able to do that kind of, that kind of service, a full DEX.
Yeah.
And I think that it also leads us to our next topic, which is a great use case for a side chain. Maybe you guys wanna start about it.
Sure. I think that's a Rob thing.
Yes, because I'm pretty excited about it because it kind of demonstrates like what we're talking about. So Circle came out with the ARC blockchain, right? And so it is a single blockchain that uses their USDC as the fee token, and it's a blockchain. It's a layer 1 blockchain, and its stablecoin is the utility. You can put other utility on it, and then to connect to other things, they were going to rely on bridges. But the entire point that we've been kind of
bridge.
Yeah, right. So because they don't have a technology that isn't that right now, right? But it kind of like just demonstrates what we've been saying for like a year now is the future is layer 1 blockchains that have their own utility and that connect to other blockchains. It is the best way to scale this whole industry. Now the Divi sidechain technology allows those blockchains to talk without bridges. Like that's super important. But the important part here is that you have a stable coin. It's its own blockchain. It's exactly the kind of concept that we're talking about here. Everything can be a layer 1 blockchain. The industry scales when everything is decoupled from each other. And that's key there.
Right. I think that,
yeah.
And I think that it is really showing how so imagine like a company like Circle, because this is ARC blockchain, right? That you were talking about.
Right.
And that's the Circle, who is the company that does USDC, that decided to make that chain. And basically a company like that has to maintain more than a dozen, like I don't know exactly the number of chains they support, but a ton of different smart contracts. They have to handle the liquidity behind that. And I mean, even if you have this semi-automated, it's still a huge work. It's still prone to error. And it is not at all an efficient architecture to be able to serve multiple layer 1s. And so having a chain that is now able to connect to other chains is a huge time saver, a much more simple architecture model, and a lot less prone to error, obviously. So, of course, they have to rely on smart contract for the connection. So right now is not great either. But with the kind of technology that we bring with our partner, we basically enable that model fully trustless, right? From that chain that offers the service to the chain that is being served, it is a fully trustless connection.
Yeah.
And I think it will completely, as you mentioned, Rob, right? It will completely change the way the infrastructure is built between blockchains and how services are rendered, and even how you see it financially, how you see a blockchain financial prospect, right? It changes completely. Like why you're doing it, it really makes sense when you focus on the service that it will just render and how many chains it will serve, basically.
Yeah, it really changes our industry to all of this utility that to be connected by, steel rather than the kind of duct tape and rope bridges that it is today. And so I think it's a good path forward. I'm happy they're doing it, and I'm looking forward to like more and more demonstration of individual blockchains. Now, there's another one, right, which is called Rain, and so they basically said, "Hey, if you want to build a stablecoin, do that on our chain." So it's basically an RWA chain, and there's other RWA chains. Plume's another big one. Chintai's another one, and that's all it basically is. And they got millions and millions of dollars to create an RWA chain, which drives me crazy. But we're entering an era. I hope we also leave the era. I just don't like the outcome, where there's going to be dozens and dozens or hundreds of stable coins. And in fact, in the Divi ecosystem, when we have side chains, we can make people can get together, raise money, and have a stable coin. It just means like put $100,000 somewhere, make $100,000 worth of a stable coin asset. Maybe it's a penny. And now what's cool is like within an ecosystem that is directly connected, like we're proposing, you can have things that are work against either the fee coin or a stable coin. And like it'll be a lively, vibrant, albeit it'll start out as a small economy, but it's doable.
The thing about these systems is that no matter what, when we talk about stables or we talk about ARC or even Rain in some of the RWA assets, there is some permissioned piece to it.
All
especially
RWA
with
is
ARC.
trusted. All of
it's
it.
all trusted.
Yeah.
And so that I don't mean to be the decentralized freedom speaker today,
Right.
but because we all are. Anytime we say stable, it's trusted, it's permission. It just gives our brain the comfort and feeling that it's like it's a number.
It has to be trusted. It has to be.
It has to, yeah.
So somebody has a pile of money and they're depositing, they're making tokens available for it. And like, there's not another way. And if we're going to have stables, I mean, I would love a crypto only world that's just crypto. But we don't live in one. And so not only are what we're moving towards are these stable coins, but hopefully decent enforceable regulations around it. This is the only time you're going to hear me supporting enforceable regulations. But if this is the way we're going, it has to happen. There's not another way. Otherwise, crypto doesn't have any teeth by itself.
So I mean, until crypto is directly accepted, you need something for the liquidity. Like you need something to keep that liquid, and it is stable coins. And I think that one of the biggest complaints about Tether, because interestingly enough, this complaint has come less. It has come for Circle, but a lot less about the potential of them not having the reserves they claim they have, and then a potential collapse for whichever event would come, right? That has been the biggest fear around companies like Tether. And so imagine that now if you spread all that to 100 companies or 1,000 companies, the risk is a lot lower. Like if you have one of those that is falling, like it has a much lesser impact on the market than if you have like a big one, like a too big to fail, right? Like imagine the term.
There's truth in that, but I expect the government will start putting in insurance things like FDIC or whatever, and associating it with, I mean, I'm sure they're going to do stuff like that.
Right.
It's in their favor, right? We built a thing for banks. Look at us go. One more note on that was, in case I wasn't clear about it before, I think I talked about it last time about like how we had this exact situation in the 1800s.
Yeah.
And I think I honestly, with all my heart, believe that it may not be Trump and it may not be some people in the banking industry now, but I honestly do believe there are people who see that this is a path towards a central bank digital currency. Because no, people aren't going to like that there's 50,000 stable coins. It's just, people are going to hate
That's
it.
true.
Of course, and
Yep.
I think it falls back in what I was saying earlier, right? Like, unfortunately, we can see that a huge part of the political crowd in the
Yeah.
West is not interested into free markets.
Right.
And
Yeah.
if they get back power, you can imagine that they will tighten those rules. And I mean, even besides that, there are actors in the market who would benefit from that, and then they will lobby for this to happen.
Totally.
It is, as we said in one of the previous videos, right? The combat never stops. We won a battle, but the war is like forever, because they would always try.
Right. So to be clear, and this is like why we do this podcast, is like, I want people to hear us that the crypto industry needs to be fixed so that when that happens, there is another economy people can go to that is trustless, that is not censored, that is not permissioned. And right now, that industry sucks, right? That's the bridges and the custody industry that we have right now. But as we make more and more blockchains talk to each other, we're developing a platform that people can go to when they don't want financial surveillance, and so forth. It'll be there. It's just not ready for the world to move to in its current condition, because most of it is kind of crappy.
Yeah, because sending money all around the world, you have to go through, if you use any of the systems currently right now, and you use a traditional banking system, it has to go through many steps. You try to send to some countries in the world, and not only is it the government regulation, but it's even the small banks that actually have to touch it and move it from bank to bank to bank to get to wherever that further location is. Everybody touches it. Everybody takes a piece. There's always a fee, and there's always a chance it gets lost or delayed for when you need it.
But what I'm talking about is the stable coins themselves are surveillance tools.
They are absolutely surveillance.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so, like, I'm hoping that in like 5 years, 10 years, I don't know when, this will be consolidated, but I'm hoping that time we've created a platform so that there's always an alternative. And that's, people involved with Divi, that's part of the mission that we're doing here.
Correct.
So I think this linked with something I've heard a lot, right? Like, people worried that in some way, whatever is happening in the US will still end up being restricted and being 100% control. And what I would answer to that realistically is that they can try. The only thing that it would do is that you would have a new stable coin that would pop up and that would not follow those rules, because now the technology is there. Like, they can't do anything against it. The worst that can happen is we go back 10 years and then we can use Bitcoin that they can't do anything against, or any other cryptocurrency.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
there will be a stable coin that rises, but every one of those has a point of attack, because there's a pile of money somewhere that somebody has, right? They're all RWA. So my point is, if we can get away from stable coins because they're surveillance tools, and maybe not even get away, but offer an alternative. And I'm talking about Bitcoin or something that is not that. It's still a good financial tool. It's just not stable coins. It's pure, not
like
not
Divi.
Like Divi, sure.
Yeah. And that's the other thing. The technologies they are all almost using. I have to look further at ARG, but nearly all of them are accounts-based blockchains. They may be layer one, but they use the same style of accounting that Ethereum would use. It's it is blatantly, it is absolutely possible to follow anything anywhere, and your privacy is just gone. But and so some people say, well, what about my privacy? I don't really care. Well, maybe it's not about that, but maybe somebody says they don't like you in some way, some manner. You didn't fulfill something, and now they flag your address, like you said, your account address. All of these chains have that built in. There's
No, it's
nothing about
worse than
any
that.
of these
Yeah.
chains that is privacy centered.
It's worse.
Nothing.
Like, who do we? I don't know who we hate right now. We hate Islamic groups, or we hate green eco terrorists or whatever, and we call it like that, but maybe it's not actually that bad. But what's happening is, like, all stable coins, they can be frozen, right? So if they identify
Correct.
the group,
Then they'll freeze your. Yeah.
They know that you have these funds. They have the ability to stop them, and so.
Yes,
It's not about
sanctions. Let's talk
privacy.
about sanctions. That's exactly what would happen,
Mhm.
right? Let's say now they
Sanctions.
put somebody under sanctions, and then they say this address is
Yep.
from that guy. Now, all the stable coins like that would be
Oh,
associated
yeah.
with that.
Yep.
If they want to operate in US, they would have to freeze it immediately.
Right.
Well, so, and here's the issue: at what depth do you freeze that asset? So here's the other thing, because that has to do with some things that they do with what's not ordinals. There's something that they're doing where obviously you can increase the value or the potential value of something. Let's say if I had a coin that came direct from Satoshi, somebody might be more willing to pay more for it. There's a phrase for that, and it's escaping me at this moment in time. But that depth of that group that nobody likes and everybody wants to block, but eventually, as those coins have come through, now nobody likes them, but now I'm the 8th person who's received a transaction that originally came from that group. Now am I blocked too?
Right.
Even though this was 2 years later. This is the same thing with Tornado Cash, which supposedly is to increase privacy. But as you notice, even Zach XBT and everybody else who analyzes those, they can follow those, especially in those accounts-based systems. You can see where those coins move to. You can see how they aggregate into an address. You can see how they come out. You're the 50th person who's received coins. Now you're accused of participating with that group. At what depth does that occur?
Yeah, that's a good point. So just to wrap this up, I want to make one more point. Like we're all excited about the changes, and then we're kind of like bashing stablecoins. We need them right now. There's no doubt.
Yes, we need them. I would say that.
I just want to have an industry that's prepared for when those start to suck. When your political opponent is in power and uses it for things that you don't like, right? We want another thing. But the thing I want to point out, and it's sort of related to the last conversation, is all of this stuff is super good. The more entrenched crypto gets into government, the less the ability the next administration or the people we don't like or whatever, the less ability they have to take it apart. And so that's the only reason I like it getting all of this stuff getting entrenched, because we always have the option, to step out of it and work just in crypto land. And so as long as we build a good crypto land, which we haven't done yet. But that, this is all very exciting to me. And I think all of this is really good for the industry, for us, ultimately for our ability to be free. But right now we need stable coins. We need these, we need acceptance by the government and recognition. I still talk to tons of people who I tell them I'm in crypto. They say, I don't understand crypto. I mean, it's basically everybody outside the events I go to, like all my friends, when I go to dinner parties, I spend a lot of time defending crypto.
I will say this. I agree with you. It's a need. But now speaking about Divi community as a whole, you guys, we all want exchanges. There is not one exchange that we talk to that says, okay, when you set up the exchange, who's going to fund a pairing, and what's the pairing that they usually press first? You have to have X amount of dollars in a stable coin. It is USDT nearly every single time. And then of course you can have a BTC pairing, but it's a stablecoin pairing. Do you remember anybody who didn't suggest that, Neeks, that we've spoken to?
Yeah,
True.
I mean, not a lot, because
Not a lot, yeah.
people ask for that. That's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, people, this is what sometimes is important to consider when we talk about the decentralization topic. Is it's great to talk about where we are going, but we have to take into account where we are. And
Yeah.
things like stable coins, things like centralized platforms, they are needed right now, because otherwise everybody would look at crypto like something they would never touch, right?
Exactly.
And so it is important to slowly go towards the right direction. And I will still early in this presidency, so I would expect that if we have exchange that are able to register within a year, I mean, when the next administration comes, if they have like many exchange that are there, it will be hard for them to have a big impact, because now that would be like a large power. Like, imagine those exchanges are making a lot of money, so they can also do lobbying. And I think that if they are able to get entrenched before there is a big change,
Mhm.
I, I think we could potentially keep that. Again, look at the forex market. It's a lot freer than most of those politicians would like it to be, but they would never touch it.
Mhm.
So
Right.
hopefully it will happen the same.
Exactly.
Voice, you mentioned Zach XBT. He also kind of did something funny recently.
Yeah, he did. He found a list, or somebody had shown a list of this group who was launching a blockchain. Correct, it was a blockchain. And this list that was grifted from, hacked from, exposed from, appears to be a Google Doc. And in the Google Doc, it reminds me of all the things you spoke about in your marketing articles, how it
Yeah.
lists all. I mean, there was, I think, what, 300 or so, maybe it was 200 or so influencers, mostly middle and small influencers, but the fees they were charging if they were to market for this. I think this is a topic that you're most familiar with, but this list is gigantic, and it shows you how the industry moves and shakes and influences people who really aren't doing their own research, but just following these influencers with 20,000, 30,000, 50,000, maybe 5,000 people, and how that can, I don't even know what else to say. It kind of makes me dizzy just thinking about it. It makes me sick to my stomach that it just gets pushed like this. I mean, this is your topic.
I wrote it in that article, but like, I just want to reiterate, if you're hearing on Twitter or whatever, you're watching a YouTube of somebody promoting a crypto, they're being paid.
Yes.
No, unless I'm doing it. You know, I promise the three of us are not being paid. But
I wish.
But those guys,
if somebody wants to pay me, that's fine. No, I'm kidding.
But those guys who are, and by the way, if we were being paid, I would tell you.
Yes.
I would tell you I was paid, and then I'd tell you I evaluated it, and here's my honest thing. I got paid to evaluate, or something like that. I would absolutely do that. But like all those videos that I mean, I don't spend a lot of time watching them, because like this is a grift. And now Neegs will point out, just like the stable coins and just like this regulation, all that kind of stuff, he'll point out that this is the way it's done. And he'll point out that this is how
he's going to be pragmatic. Yes,
in
exactly.
crypto. You don't have to like it, but that's how it's done. And I get that. The part I feel like reiterating over and over is that these are not honest opinions, and they don't tell you they're being paid. And like, that is the part of the industry that the marketing industry in crypto that I dislike, is that it's not honest. I think that guy, who's that guy? The guy who does technology kind of reviews, Marcus
Brownlees.
Yeah, that guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So like, I like him. I've watched him, and he's pretty damn clear. He's like, these guys sent me this, or these guys, like he's pretty clear about what he paid for
Not
and what he
always.
didn't.
He has been called out for not
Oh, he
being
has?
that clear on some situations.
So even him.
Yeah, I think this is the overall thing, right? I entirely agree with what you say, but I think it is exactly fitting with the stablecoin thing and all. I think it's actually even worse than that. I think those guys, they're not crypto people. They are advertising space.
Mhm.
And that's it, right?
Yeah.
And once you start to see the market like that, then I mean, you can see them as dishonest because obviously they will promote anything.
Sure.
But is any newspaper or website really looking at what they advertise? Not really. So
Yeah.
in a way, they're kind of in this influencer new kind of advertising kind of thing. And obviously, if you are in crypto and you believe in the technology, that's not it. That's for sure, right? Like this
Yeah.
is just being able to promote a message, and the crypto they promote could be great or it could be crap. Like
Right.
it's kind
But their
of
promotion has
irrelevant.
nothing to do with that.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just advertising space. That's it.
It's super
And so
funny
where-
you say it like that. I actually like it like that. So in no other endeavor that we do we go and seek out advertisements. Like I don't go to YouTube and say, I just want to watch advertisements, But-
Yes,
But
that's
when
for
you
sure.
go to those podcasts or those KOL channels, that's what you're doing. You're saying, I want to
So
go
I think
and
it
watch
has-
advertisements.
I think it makes sense. As stupid as it might be, I think it makes
Yeah.
sense because as there is no concrete thing, a lot of it is about hype and support and how much it will be viewed. And
Yeah.
so those people, like most of the
Yeah.
audience, they don't really know what to buy. They're not going to read the white paper. And so they're
No.
trying to find leads. And that's how now you have this strange thing. But look, like here is why also I thought it was important to talk about it today, is that we will use that kind of thing for the marketing, right? Like we have
Yeah.
the marketing that is now incoming, like we were expecting the market to pull back a little bit and then after to be like the big period. So I think we're getting right into it. Of course, we're still fine tuning, but I think this is important for people to go. I think we'll share that link in the video. It is important for people to go and see how much it costs. Like
It
one
does.
tweet of a random profile and see the kind of money that it costs and why those people in a way would be crazy to not do
Yeah.
that, right?
Correct.
So
I mean, some of those posts are like for a single post to their community is $5,000. You
See,
can
I'm not
buy
that
batches
shocked.
of 12, right? Or $12,000, $8,500 for a
there
couple of
is a
videos.
60K.
You're right.
60K.
There's a
But,
60K.
I'm not that actually that shocked by those, the biggest one, because I understand how advertising work, and I know
Sure.
someone with a very big profile can have such a big impact that is justified. But what I'm really impressed about is all the small ones that still get like 500, 700. Like it's crazy for one tweet.
Yeah. And this
So-
doesn't, I want to say this doesn't mean that these, well, I think they really get, instead of just being called an influencer, they get called a KOL, right? It's
Yeah.
just like they're a key opinion leader, right? Isn't that
Yeah.
what that is?
Yes.
So now they're key opinion leaders. It's not just that I'm an influencer, but I'm a key opinion leader. And then they have tiers for each other. It doesn't mean any of these people are bad. It doesn't mean any of these people are
They found a
deceitful
grift. That's fine.
unless they don't express that this is product placement, right? Even
So let's-
TV shows at the
let's
end will
expand on
say
that.
product placement, right? It's
Yeah,
it's
but-
very important.
Out of this list, which he says is 200 plus, 160 plus actually didn't disclose it was an ad. So I think this is also a marker of how it works. Like most of the influence, which again is just like advertising, most of the advertising you see now is integrated and they're just not telling you. that they are being paid to
Yeah,
show it to
yeah.
you.
There are people who do articles. There are people. Look, I wrote an article. This is a shill moment. I wrote an article. I have a newsletter. I write information in that newsletter. There might be offerings to services. Is that bad? No, that's not bad. I think it's great when people provide content and information, and give you something you can use that benefits your life. It is when they just flatly shill, when they flatly pump, when they flatly, you got to get in now and get out. It's those that aren't really, those are influencers, I would say. Those, I don't know, maybe there's another word for it, but
those are synonymous to me, influencer and
Yeah.
KOL. I separate some
Yes.
KOLs out in my head as thought leaders, and I've got a list of those.
yeah, but are they thought leaders? They're not really thinking. They're just chilling.
The people on no, I agree. I'm saying the thought leaders are different people. So the thought
Yes,
leaders
okay, I see what you're saying. My
are
apologies.
people who have been posted, like they're older, and like older in the industry. I mean, and they've been posting a long time. I like Daniel Jeffries. I like Zach XBT's another one. Like there's a whole bunch of people who I consider thought leaders that are truly key opinion leaders, right? But now, since KOLs and influencers are basically the same thing, I'm like thought leaders. I just have a different context for them in my own head. And then who's in and out of that list is it's definitely up to me. And I could be wrong. I just mentioned Marquise Brownlee. He's not a crypto thought leader. I thought he was decent, but I might be wrong on my list. Maybe some of them are paid too.
But I think even like it's just normal business, right? I know you are for open markets. And so someone who is a thought leader and is still like a respectable individual can still be paid to promote something.
Absolutely.
It must, however, be done with a very high ethical level. So obviously that person will have to really see that it's actually something serious, right? Not just a random $2,000 payment, or just not just a payment. Like he will have other requirement to talk about those things, and you can see that those opinion leaders, as you call them, or thought leaders, they don't promote much coins.
No, they don't.
Or at all.
I'm totally not against people making money. If you're hearing that from me, that's absolutely the opposite.
No,
of what
I
I'm
didn't
saying.
take that.
But so one of the guys I like is JJ Valenzuela. He's been with Dash for a while, and he goes and talks at different things. I'm going to go see him in Boston in a week or so. He absolutely is getting paid to talk. Like he goes to the events where people pay him to talk, but he doesn't shill products. He's just talking about and maybe not even Dash. He goes to Litecoin things too. He talks about technological progress. He talks about the impacts of things. And he gets paid to do that. But he's not getting paid to say those things. He's getting paid to say things he would say.
I think that's fair. I mean, you have
totally
authors
fine,
who write a
absolutely.
book and then people pay them to come and speak about it. There's nothing
I'm
wrong
not
with
against
that.
people making money at all. It's just this aspect of people getting paid to, promote a coin and not tell them, like getting paid to have an opinion on a coin is different than getting paid to promote a coin and not saying you're getting paid to promote a coin, right? There's a line there.
Yeah.
And that's the thing I complain about. All right.
And that's the thing you also noted. You noted in your articles that some of them don't talk about it. They don't even admit it until they're called on it.
Yeah. We don't have to harp on that anymore. Let's get back to Divi.
Yeah.
We'll wrap this up.
Basically,
Who are we going to have shill us? No, I'm kidding.
Now I'm going to shill Divi. Somebody pay us.
No, we do have a few. I shared the list last time. If you missed it, don't hesitate to go back to the previous video, and then you will see I shared some tables where you can see the kind of things we will have. It is coming very soon, as I said. I don't think we need to spend so much time on that. We're just like basically on the starting blocks, waiting for the right time. So it's not like we can tell you an exact date because we're just waiting for the market. As you can see, right, if we would have rushed that, it wouldn't have been as effective.
Totally. So dear audience, I have really learned to trust Niggs's opinion of where the market is. It's taking me a long time. You can ask him. But I really have learned to trust it. And now I appreciate it, because we had a lot of people pushing us to get the marketing. There's money there for it, to get the marketing done. And Neegs has been like, it's not the right time. It's not the right time. And even I've been like, hey, let's go spend some money. But I was wrong. He was right. So, I'm just pleading with people to listen to Neegs when he says we're getting close, but not yet.
I want to say that when we say market timing, it doesn't mean that Neegs is not paying attention, meaning that he's just, what does that mean? Is just sitting around on his thumbs? No, he's analyzing everything. So when people might ask something, might suggest something, might be curious about why or when, it's just as you just described, Neegs has a method, a process that's his own. When he analyzes these things, he's constantly doing that. He's constantly prepping. He's got spreadsheets coming out of his ears on these kinds of things. And so
you're very kind with me.
No,
I'm not as good. I want to.
Yeah, he's never gonna lift himself up on a pedestal, and we're not lifting him up on a pedestal. We're showing him the respect he's due. I respect him most because he's actually got 14 monitors all around his computer, and so that wall of monitors and market watch that he's doing blows my mind. I know he has 3. I'm just having fun, and so I was just saying it's just the monitors why I lift you up like that. But the point is that you are working on it. You are paying attention to it. You are doing due diligence. You are making sure that as the time is moving towards that direction, you will make a good, informed, no decision is perfect, you will make an informed suggestion to make the process begin. That's for the benefit, it will always be made for the benefit of this goal, which is to help Divi. And that's, I think, the most important point.
Yeah, and
Patreon.com
with our last
404.
With our last little comments about the KOLs, that's one thing to notice also, is like the cost of everything there, and then how much money we have, right? So it's important to time it right so we don't blow the money, because we have to spend it, and you can see what marketing kind of costs, and it's not cheap. It's cheap with the people you've never heard of, and as you've more and more heard of them, it gets more and more expensive. So it's just that's how that tied in. It's pretty important. But anyway, we're getting close. We're not there yet.
We've been contacted with exchange platforms that we would love to list on, especially with the new regulations that seems to be coming. I'm sure those platforms will actually register in the FBOT framework. But the thing is that, again, like, those things are not cheap. Now, I think that if we time things properly, as we talked a few times, right? If we time things properly, ride the wave, and we announce what we're doing, unfortunately, in this market, you can have the best tech. It's kind of irrelevant. You have to seize the right timing.
I hate it so much.
I know. And the problem is, again, go back, see those prices. We don't have many bullets to be able to reach people with our new direction, how our technology will change the market. So that's why we're super cautious about when we start.
Yep.
That's it. So can tell us about the first part of your Asian trip.
So I'm on a big Asian tour right now with our partner. So it was in Bali. Was the first leg of this. Before I went there, I got to tell you, somebody who's relatively well known in the crypto industry was like, "Bah, don't go there. You're wasting your time." We're going there because our partner has partnered with people, and so that was kind of the forcing function that moved us there. So I was there, and it was interesting, and it was actually quite good. There's a lot of, first of all, Bali is very nice. Very good temperature in the summer. The festival was called Coin Fest, marketed as the largest crypto festival on the planet, which was weird because when you go there, it's not like certainly the Bitcoin conference or token or much bigger. but those are not festivals. So
Yeah.
that's their little thing they did. So I don't know how many other festivals there are, but it was at a place called Nuama in Bali, which was a super interesting place. It's got a lot of experimental architecture. It's a lot of people. I've not been to Burning Man, but a lot of people kind of compared it to like a stationary, a year-long Burning Man. Just with the architecture and things that people are building there, not necessarily the events going on there. And so it was funny because like the biggest booth that was there was X. So X knows that they are the platform for crypto. They're just giving out free beer. They weren't actually doing anything at all.
Nice.
So, and then there's a few others.
I could hear Elon say, "Just give them free beer."
You know it, right? For them,
like if they needed brand awareness against their competition.
Yep, it was the biggest.
Sorry,
the biggest
keep
booth
going
there. And then you went around and there's a lot of talks and so forth, and panels and so forth. Anyway, so it was good. Met a lot of people who were genuinely interested in our approach to crypto. We are still battling this problem. Is like people's minds are not really there yet in terms of like, the need to like tons of people are making money the way it is. And so to tell people in the future that we're going to be sick of that, and then we have to fix this, that's that's in the future. I'm worried about now. I'll be, I'll sleep when I'm dead, like that kind of thing. And so that's the big battle there. But for the most part, it communicates really well there. Met a lot of people that will be helpful for us in the future there. That was actually really good. Then I went to Japan. Never been to Japan before. There's a couple of events there. It was a much smaller. It was more spread out and smaller. I only could make it to a couple of events, and I think that was less good. It was WebEx was the name of it, and it's just for all the events I went to, that was the smallest one so far. And then coming up is Korea Blockchain Week and Singapore Token 2049. And then I'll be, if anybody is listening to this and is in San Francisco or in LA in the first half of October, I'll be there. Happy to go get coffee or go do something. But that's my travel schedule for the next few weeks.
That's right. So Token 2049 is kind of the biggest event of the year.
Yes.
And the second
three big events, right? There's two Token 2049s. One's in Dubai, one is in Singapore, and then there's the Bitcoin conference. So those are like the three biggest events of the year.
Yeah, I was going to say the first one is the Token 2049 in Singapore, and the second is Token 2049 in Dubai.
If you're on a school calendar, that's true. On a normal calendar, it's the opposite.
I wonder why is it Token 2049? What is the significance?
No idea. Never asked.
I don't know.
There was the domain name they found. It was easy.
Can keep that name for a while.
They can keep it for a few years. Yeah. It'll be future looking for a few years, and then it'll be backward looking. I don't know why. All right. So that's pretty much it for today.
Yeah,
the impact, I think we'll have a video again before you leave to Asia again.
Cool. And we'll do another one of these before I leave. And then it's going to be rough for me. I just like doing these while I'm traveling are really hard.
Yeah.
So we might have a month off.
Unless maybe we can find a way to get somebody and then do an episode. We'll think about it. I was also, because I didn't talk about that, part of the content that we will deliver during the marketing campaign that we start. I'm also working on a ton of articles that are actually going in detail, because we did that in the videos, but basically going in detail about what are side chains, how we compare, what are the risks of the competing solutions. Because in fact, like most people just ignore that. And as you said, for investors, it's not that important, because as long as they make money, they're happy. But for users, it is a very important topic, because these are the ones who are losing money when things go down. And so that's why I think it will be a great content, and we'll try to reproduce what we did in 2023 when we announced the white paper. So stay Stay
I
connected.
also want to say that there's been some chat. If you're listening to this on YouTube or either audio, video, both, Discord and Telegram. Telegram has become the main source of information. If you're on Discord, you're missing quite a bit. Now, what was also discussed was the potentiality of putting the bridge back in. When I have time, funds, those kinds of things, I'll have to host it. I'll see about putting that back in place. And so if you're on Discord, make sure you hang out there. Make sure you're chatting. But if you also want to get the full scoop on everything, there are many groups that are Divi related on Telegram that are hot, on fire compared to what they are on Discord. And so we'd like to bridge some of that, at least from the general channel, back to Discord itself. And you want to hear that information. But before then, join Telegram. Maybe you'll stay in Telegram. I don't know. The other thing I wanted to let you know is that one of the things that I built many, many years ago, Rob, you built the tool that would post the master nodes and all those great things, that website. I also built the Tipbot, or forked it, I should say, and then upgraded it. I've actually made headway in making a new version, which everybody had been asking for in years past when we went to 3.0. And I've been testing an actual Tipbot that works with 3.0. It is walletless. It is completely encrypted, all of its data. You realize that anytime you deal with these kinds of things, there is some trust. It is a novelty. There is actually two that I'm building. One is already pretty much done. The second one would be completely trustless, but requires a second level of your action, meaning that if it's trustless, I can still make these tools communicate. But then when you were to tip somebody, you'd have to actually then go to your chat with your bot using the web apps function and then approve the payment because only you have the keys. That's a much harder, much more detailed tool. I think I'm going to keep working on that. But the other one, I probably have a couple of months for that one to be finished with testing and all of those kinds of things. But I have actually successfully done, maybe 100 tips so far on this very, very brand new system. There's no wallet. There's actually no Divi daemon on it either. So it's really cool. It's really cool.
Interesting.
Yep.
Cool. So
it'll work on any blockchain, by the way.
You saved a couple months, so we'll ask for an update in 2 weeks.
Well, look for it. Exactly. Is it done?
Is it done? Exactly.
It's done.
Cool.
All right.
Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.